I'm going to answer that in a slightly different way. It's probably, I'm going to answer it in the question of, it was probably the insight about the methodology that I got was from an experience when I was out in Africa. And I was in Namibia and we were sitting around a campfire and I was talking with some fellow colleagues and we were on an elephant volunteering project. We were monitoring the elephants and we were building stone walls to protect water sources from the elephants so that the locals had water. And it was while I was there, as we were sitting around that campfire one night, somebody said, "Who's been swimming with dolphins?" And I immediately put up my hand and said I had. And then this was the killer question that really started me on this track, Ryan, which was somebody asked me, they said, "Julia, tell me what the experience was like." And I was like, interesting, because I know that I went swimming with dolphins for my friend's 30th birthday in Mexico, but I couldn't remember any of the details of the experience, what it was like, what we did, how I felt. And that was kind of my realization that there was so much of life I was going through, not being present, not paying attention, not noticing really what was happening around me. I was just going through life with a kind of tick list of these are all the things I want to do, tick, tick, tick. And so that whole concept of getting really present and really appreciating what's happening in the moment and really paying attention to everything around me was really kind of the start and the incubation, I guess, of what now happens within my business horsepower, because it is all about how do we have more attention? How do we be more present with the people, with the environment, and with ourselves? Because we live in a world where right now, I think people are really disconnected. We're disconnected from each other, but we're also really disconnected from ourselves and what we need. So, within the programs that we run at Business Horsepower, if you're going to, be in nature, you're going to be with horses, you have to be really present. I learned after I had that big realization in Africa, I actually went and lived in the African bush for 4 months because I was like, how do I get to learn to be really present and pay attention? Well, I better live in an environment that is, to some extent quite dangerous. I've got to pay attention to know where the mountain lion is so I'm not his dinner. So that's what I did. And that's sort of, the crux of everything we do. And I think the crux of life nowadays is how do we all become more present, pay more attention to what's going on around us so we can show up as better human beings in the world? Yeah, well, I think the whole concept of being grounded, because as I said, being out in nature, you have to be in the moment. Otherwise, it's not safe, right? You don't know what's happening around you. So the essence of everything that we're doing in business horsepower is making leaders more self-aware and more aware of other people around them, because only when we're in that state can we build great relationships, be more connected to our team members, to our suppliers, to our colleagues, to our investors, and then communicate more effectively from that space. And therefore, all of those, that's a foundational piece that needs to happen in order for a business to be able to grow and scale. We have to all be able to communicate and connect effectively with each other and build those relationships.